Hi there, Steve Kaufmann. I have breaking news. Breaking news. You know how on TV they always have breaking news, and of course it's something you already knew. It's not breaking, it's nothing particularly breaking. But the breaking news that I want to talk about today is that to be successful as a language learner, you have to be active. You have to be active. If you want to get into shape, you have to be active. You have to either go to the gym or you have to run or you have to play a lot of sports. You have to be active. You don't necessarily have to know how the body works. You don't have to have that sort of kind of information about the whys. You just have to be active. You go to the gym and there's equipment there and you use it. Some people may require a coach to sort of set out a program for them, or some people just go there and do something, because if you're active, you're going to get healthy. And the same is true in language learning. I think this is so important. Now, in order to be active, you have to do things that you enjoy doing, or at least that you are motivated to do one way or another. And varying things is one way to ensure you stay active. If you go to the gym and always use the same equipment, that's not going to be as effective. If you go there and use a variety of different, lat machine or, treadmill, or if you vary things. And that's the same with language learning. So what I want to do is I want to talk a bit, like I have now been active in Turkish for 2 weeks, 2 weeks yesterday. And I think that in those 2 weeks, I have learned quite a lot. Certainly, I have learned more than if I had attended a university Turkish class for 2 weeks. You'll see with my statistics that I have, at least I can recognize 1,300 words. I hear a lot of words that I understand, even when watching this Turkish soap opera on TV. So I've really kind of broken into the language. I know, however, that it's still a long road. For example, if I pull an article from a newspaper into LingQ, it's mostly blue words. So there's a lot for me yet to learn. I know that in the mini stories that I've been doing, there are a lot of words that I have saved that are links. I think there's about 3,000 of them. I don't know them yet. So there's a lot yet for me to do. But if I can keep a range of activities in front of me that I want to do, I'm motivated differently at different times. But between the different things that I do at LingQ and being stimulated by watching the Turkish soap opera on Netflix, I remain active in the language. And that's the key, to be active in the language. Some people are very keen on doing Anki flashcards. I'm not. But if that's what those people enjoy doing, then that's a good thing for them to do because it keeps them active. So the breaking news is, if you want to do well in language learning, stay active. And now I'll give you some specific examples of the kinds of things that I do on LingQ to stay active. And some of you say, why do you always talk about LingQ? The reason, there's two basically. One, I do my language learning on LingQ. I enjoy it. I get excited about it. And second of all, I'm a co-founder with my son Mark of LingQ, and we would like to encourage more people to use LingQ. Now, talk to you later. Okay, now let's look at the ways that I stay active. You have to stay active. If you want to get into physical shape, you have to stay active. You don't need to know how your muscles work, why certain exercises are good for you. You just have to do something. You go to the gym, there's equipment there. You start using it. All right, so here is how I stay active on LingQ. Other people may be active in other ways, but I'm going to talk about what I do. So the first thing is, in order to stay active, you have to keep things interesting. So I have spent a lot of time on the mini stories. I'll move myself over here for now. I spent a lot of time on the mini stories. In fact, you can see it here. But I've also poked around outside the mini stories in Who Is She, Greetings and Goodbyes, and another thing, Ben Sevedim, whatever that, I can't remember. I've poked around, so Who Is She? You can see that I've actually created 305 links in Who Is She. I've poked around in Greetings and Goodbyes. The advantage of the Who Is She is that it's a dialogue, whereas the mini stories are not. Unfortunately, in Turkish, in both of these, it's one voice. I might actually have Who Is She done again with a male and a female voice. However, so the first thing is to keep things varied. Another thing that helps my enthusiasm is this Turkish soap opera that my wife is watching on Netflix called Yek Gör Ask, Love is in the Sky or something. And I pick up words here and there, and it's stimulating. I can't understand what they're saying. We have English subtitles, but it is part of maintaining my motivation. It's a form of activity. I'm not really learning, but I'm encouraged and stimulated by what I see. So, also along the lines of being active, let's go into the mini stories, and I'll show you some of the things that I do. Oh, come on. Now, in Loom, where I'm filming this, sharing my screen with you, everything happens much more slowly than in real life. But I wanted to show you that in the early stories, for example, which I've listened to very often, the number of words that I don't know, in other words, links that I saved and now have converted to known words, is quite low. So I understand these stories quite well. Wherever this number is low, pretty well I understand the story. Once we get up to 24 words that I saved that I'm hoping to learn, but still haven't learned, the story's still a bit fuzzy. If I go, bear with me here, if I go down to the later stories, 43 words, 54, 53, 74, 59. So obviously these are lessons that I have a lot of trouble understanding. And so these are lessons that I have to keep on going into, reading again. Typically I've listened to the first stories 20, 30 times. I've read them 8, 9 times. Whereas the later stories I listened to twice and I've read them twice. So obviously I have to get, active on those later stories. There's lots of time yet. I've only been in it for 2 weeks. So I'll get there. Speaking of which, just to have a quick look at my profile, let's see, is this going to come up? You know what? I'll leave the profile for now. I wanted to show you something else. So let's pick a story. So I want to get into these stories where I have a lot. Let's go story 30. I don't know what's in there, but that's a toughie because story 29, I've got 9 links that I haven't yet converted. But in story 30, that must be a real tough one because I've got 50. So let's see what we see in story 30. And this is somehow one way that you can choose the next lesson to study is to study something that you're still struggling with. So obviously I have a lot of trouble following this story, and it has a lot of words in it that I don't know. So, as it's very slow to open up here in Loom, again, in terms of varying things, I can be in full text mode or I can be in sentence mode. So, and I can go back to the beginning here. So now I'm doing it sentence by sentence. So one of the things that I find, because again, you can vary it in terms of plowing forward and going into new lessons with blue words and converting them to yellow. You can, reread and simply read a lesson that you're struggling with, like this one. I could just read it again, and in reading it again, I would probably convert some of the, yellow links into white. There are probably yellow links there that I now know, so I can do that. Or I can delve more deeply into the lesson, and I'll show you how I do that. So here, for example, I could look at the translation. So here again, this is supposed to show the real translation. There is a bug right now, and it's showing the Google translation, but the real translation has been pasted in there from the real version of that story in whatever your native language is. But what I do is this, because these are time-stamped.
Hikaye 30. Bu, plaja giden Kerem'in hikayesi.
So I listen to it, and I go through it sentence by sentence. This helps a lot with the lessons that are difficult.
Kerem cumartesi günleri erken kalkardı.
Kerem cumartesi günleri erken kalkardı. So one of the things I try to do is to imitate the pronunciation. It's a real voice. I imitate it, and I focus on intonation. Now, cumartesi günleri. I now know that that's Mondays. Günleri makes it plural. Cumartesi is Monday. So I might just say, okay, I know that. Or Monday, it's Saturday. Saturday, I got it wrong. Okay, yeah, Zavartesi or something is Monday. I leave it. Okay, but I have that phrase. Erken is early. I know that, but kalkarde is to get up, but I really don't know that one. So, I move on. So,
Genellikle havanın nasıl olduğunu öğrenmek için dışarıya bakardı.
genellikle havanın nasıl olduğunu öğrenmek için dışarıya bakardı. Okay, I struggle with that one, but if I keep on doing it, I'm only going to get better. So that this is sort of something that I find quite useful. So you're kind of delving more deeply into the language, trying to get a sense of the pronunciation. And I find that's very helpful. Even though I stumble and mispronounce, it doesn't matter.
Genellikle havanın güzel ve güneşli olduğunu görürdü.
Genellikle havanın güzel ve güneşli olduğunu görürdü. Okay. Mispronounce doesn't matter. Now, if I look here at my, full text mode, I can go to the,
Gideceği.
Now, here again, something that I can do is in my, let's move this guy down here, in my review settings. Again, pardon the slowness because of Loom. So I have set it up with just the reverse flashcard and dictation. Because the flashcards are quite easy. Multiple choice is very easy. I want to get deeper into the language. And of course, every time you do that, you're slowing yourself down in terms of your sort of big picture reading and listening activity. You're now sort of dealing with the nuts and bolts. But I find it useful to do that from time to time. Similarly, we have in the dictionary, well, I'll show you that later. But so if I hear
Gideceği.
Gideceği. So, now, gideceği. We'll see how that goes. No. So, gideceği. So you have to get used to this G with a little curly Q on top, that's like an unpronounced. So, gideceği will go. Okay, I mean that. Just doing that helps me. Let's do one more.
Bulmakta.
Okay, now I've messed it up because I've put the answer right on the top of the flashcard, so that's not so useful. Bulmakta, find.
Güneşli olduğunu.
Okay, this is I should have changed. There we
Görüldü.
go. Okay. I'll just show you that. So in the review settings. Let's see here. Or maybe that's not where you do it. Let's close that. In here, maybe. Okay, auto grammar, music barrier. Somewhere I'm allowed to determine what shows up. Review settings. That's strange. Cards per session. Somewhere, maybe it's not showing up. I'm able to determine what shows up on the face of the flashcard. I'm not sure where that is. I won't bother with it now. Let's close that. So let's listen to this again.
Görüldü.
Again?
Görüldü.
Görüldü. So that should be. Now I would need to look at my. I don't have. Oh well, I guess that's how you do it. Let's close this. So this would be number 2. I'm so used to on my görüldü. I think it was. Görüldü. Let's see what happens. Görüldü. Okay, so the dictation enables you to sort of fine-tune your listening ability. And I think both of these exercises, that is to say, listening in sentence view and dictation, help you with your pronunciation. People, particularly in French, they say, it just all seems to flow together. I can't tell what people are saying and stuff. So I would suggest both of these activities, listening and repeating in sentence mode where you have the natural voice, and the dictation as ways that you're going to help your brain, define what it is you're listening to. And so, I mean, that's enough. One other thing I perhaps could show you in terms of an activity, and then I think you get the picture. There's so many different things that you can do. Even though my main activity is listening and reading, at times I like to focus in on the nuts and bolts. First of all, because it varies the activity, so that after a while I get tired of rereading lessons and listening for the third or fourth or fifth time. So here are some other things that I can do that help me notice. So, for example, if I go to the vocabulary section, I can choose phrases. So I'm only going to be looking at phrases. And maybe I want to look at phrases that come from a particular lesson. So I might go to sort of, say, the mini stories. Okay, link mini stories, and I want to go to story, whatever, I think it was on story 30, so that, that's all I'm going to look at. I have started tagging verbs. I could look for just verbs, and I apply that. So I'm going to see all of the phrases that came out of this particular lesson, all of the phrases that I have linked, and I can quickly review them. Okay? So it's just another form of activity to ensure that you stay active. And while I'm at it, I can show you my activity, speaking of staying active, for the last 2 weeks. I have 1,300 known words. I have saved 3,500 links. I have learned over 1,000 links. The other words I picked up, they were either loan words from French or from Persian. I've listened to almost 18 hours. I have read 51,000 words. So I have an activity score here, a composite activity score, activity index of 4,800, 4874. The more active you are, the better you will learn. It's a bit like working out in the gym. You have to be active. Okay, I think that's enough for now. And I will now get back to talking to you. I hope you were able to follow that. It's an experiment for me doing these things on Loom. The reaction on Loom is a little slower. Maybe I move too quickly for people. So any comments about the way in which I show you the things that I do on LingQ, please, let me know. And if there are things that you would like me to demonstrate, also, please let me know. And for those of you who are not English speakers, remember, you can import, if you put on the closed captions, which have the English subtitles, you can import my videos into a LingQ as a lesson so that you can go over the words that I'm using. You can save them, you can learn them. So I think it's probably best for me to do these videos in English so that English native speakers will understand them, but also people who are learning English can use them as lessons at LingQ in order to improve their English. So remember, stay active. Bye for now.